Hello, everyone. I'm David Riggleman, Communications Director for the City of Las Vegas. Thanks for joining us for Access City Council. Coming up on this show, our city honors and remembers the 58 killed in the October 1 mass shooting. And our Metro police officers are also honored at the annual Best of the Badge event. Here to discuss these topics and much more is the councilman who represents Ward 5. You know who it is. It's Crear. Welcome back to the show.
Hello,
How are you?
I'm doing fantastic. Just busy
you.
as always.
You are busy. We got a very, very full show because you
Yeah.
have been everywhere doing everything.
We got a lot going on.
You
Like
do.
I say all the time, there's a lot of opportunities to do great things here in Ward 5.
You are not letting any time be wasted.
No
I'm going
doubt
to tell
about
you.
it. First 6 months have been jam-packed.
You have, and we're going to jump right in because you got a lot going on. For those of you who don't know where Ward 5 is located, no worries, we're going to show you the map. It's really right in the heart of our city of Las Vegas. Right there with that big 5, that's Ward 5. It encompasses some of our downtown, but really also goes all the way out to the northwest. So it's a very diverse ward because it literally meanders kind of along the north side of US 95, follows that curve.
Yep, and we have, we just realized that we have 3 Metro command stations within
your
Ward
one
5,
ward,
right? That kind of gives you a good idea. Bolden Area Command, Downtown Area Command, DTAC is there, and as well as a sliver of Northwest Area Command up north is also in our ward. So we have a lot of ground to cover.
You do. You do a lot of things to talk about too. One thing, Councilman, this impacted our entire community. You, like so many, were part of the remembrances. Last week we had our our first anniversary of the October 1 shooting, and an emotional day.
It was.
Across the city. Of course, within the city we had prayer vigil that took place at City Hall that morning, 11:30. And then we had 2 events at the Healing Garden later on. You were at all those things.
Yeah.
And I don't know about you, but I felt more emotional a year later than I thought I would. It really it brought back a lot of memories of that night.
Yeah, it's funny you say that because I felt the same way. I kind of thought it was just me, but it was so gripping and so telling. And I think over that course of the day, we saw so many a variety of people, survivors, people who are victims, people whose family members and friends were lost. A lot of tears were shed, a lot of emotions were shared that day. And people within the public sector, public officials and workers are not, they felt the same way.
Sure.
Right?
Absolutely.
And as much as we're trying to be professional and be, the leaders, it's very tough inside as well for us. And that was shown that day.
Well, we all had to manage that event in some way, shape, or form when it took place. And that's, of course, part of our job. But as you say, Councilman, it still is very hard, especially when you see the lives that it impacted. I think one of the things that struck me, and I know you saw this firsthand because you were out at the Healing Garden, this event took place at 6:30. We dedicated the new walls out there, the remembrance walls, and then at 10 o'clock that night we read the names of the 58 victims.
Yeah.
But I think one of the things that struck me, and I think you saw this as well, is how many family members traveled here for the remembrances.
Yeah, I completely agree with you. How many family members came? We had police who came out from other cities, or some from Southern California.
Exactly.
We also, on the Sunday, I went out and kicked off the 1 October 5K race downtown, which for the first time I was downtown. That was a huge turnout. So that kind of started the remembrance for me, was on that Sunday morning leading into Monday with the vigil at City Hall, with the festivities, our vigil at the Healing Garden, and then that night. And I got to tell you, that night, man, was that amazing. And I got to give a lot of credit to the mayor, to the city staff, and all the volunteers who organized the entire day, because it was flawless, but it was so monumental. I also thank you to the governor for coming out and other elected officials that came to support.
Councilman, it was interesting, after that 10 o'clock ceremony, we read the names of the 58 who we lost, and no one left. The ceremony was over, but people just stayed for a good solid hour following the event. So,
and then the person who played the taps, that was just like the sort of the icing on the cake to kind of just let us stop. I remember we were walking, everybody stopped and gave a moment of silence to listen to the taps. And it was just fantastic the way it's gone. The candles, the procedure, you and the mayor calling the names, the bell from the firefighters, and it was just a great memorial for that. And also, how amazing is the Healing Garden and how it's grown to what it started off with and what it is now. Great to be downtown where it's located. I'm glad that's where it is. It should be in downtown Las Vegas.
And may our city never face anything like that ever again. So, Councilman, I know one of the things that we're very happy to talk about, shifting gears here, Symphony Park, the development in your ward, there's a lot going on.
Yeah, there is.
I know we had so many tough years during the recession, but things have really headed the other direction. We're very proud of this. We have 2 parking garage structures that are going to open on Symphony Park. We had a groundbreaking for both back on September 17th. The reason this is significant is because this is going to open up a whole new wave of development on the vacant parcels on Symphony Park. Which is in your ward.
It is. Symphony Park is in Ward 5. There's a lot going on there. So we have the 2 garages sponsored by the city on the east and west side of the Smith Center, which is going to help, alleviate a lot of the congestion down that way. It'll give people a safe and reliable way to park down there instead of driving around trying to find a parking spot. You'll know exactly you can go there. And it'll help on the bottom with our retail space because we're going to have restaurants on the bottom. We're going to have stores on the bottom of one of the garages. And then we have a number of apartment complexes coming down that way, which also have retail space. So look, Symphony Park is moving. It's a lot happening. We've got some empty parcels, and we are going to fill those in. And we're going to create a great work-life environment right down at Symphony Park.
And Councilman, that's the thing. People say, well, hey, they're just parking garages. But our point at the city is that because those projects are now being built, other projects can come in. They don't have to worry about where they're going to find parking or if they're going to have to build parking. They can just build their
It is. Well, and plus,
project.
The parking has to expand with the development that's going on, right? So we also have the World Market Centers building a big convention center down there. And so they bring in 2 major events a year that are just, as you know, that floods the Symphony Park in the downtown area, which is amazing. But it'll help alleviate that. We're potentially going to have a hotel right next to the Smith Center as well, a 400-room hotel, a limited service hotel. That's happening. So as we bring in growth and bring in people, you also have to talk about how do you manage parking, egress, ingress. I have a meeting this afternoon talking about the off-ramp that potentially could happen off of 95 coming into Symphony Park. So it all has to go together. We have to be responsible. There's something called responsible growth. Sometimes in this area we kind of forgot about that. We were just growing so fast and we didn't have an opportunity to really be as responsible. But we're changing that.
Exactly.
And so we are responsible, and we're bringing in business and industry and jobs. But we got to make sure they have a place to park.
Exactly right. And so the parking is just going to be there. It's planned.
Yes, it is.
It's not going to be guesswork. Exactly.
It is.
And then, Councilman, just down the road, a little to the south, not in your ward, but part of the whole downtown. You represent a lot of the downtown.
I do.
This is all tied together. We're really happy. We call the whole effort going on Downtown Lights Up because there is so much new in the downtown. If you haven't been down there in a while, you need to come check it out because there is a lot going on. For example, Main Street south of Charleston, and everybody knows that Fremont and the Fremont East District is bustling. But if you haven't been on Main Street south of Charleston, this is what it looks like now.
Yeah, and I got to tell you, look, I'm a downtown guy. I opened up my advertising company years ago. My office was downtown on 4th and Gas.
That's right.
I would have meetings and I'd have people, people say, let's go to lunch. Okay, great, let's go to lunch downtown. And so I'm a downtown guy. It's amazing to see the growth that is happening. Those lights are fantastic. It adds a whole different ambiance and feel to downtown with the bars and the restaurants and the storefronts that are there. The ability to walk from place to place is really a real downtown.
It makes it fun. You park and you just go from place. You, like Councilman, you're just place to place. Gives you a real sense of community. Also, you feel the vibe because you're out it's not in your car. You're actually walking around. You kind of feel the whole vibe of the neighborhood.
You do. You feel the vibe, and it's not just on Main Street. It's off streets on California, on different areas around there. It's just a great vibe and a great feel. And I urge people to come down to downtown. Some people are like, "Well, I don't want to go downtown." No, come downtown, man.
Check it out. Yeah.
This is where the flavor is, and you know what? It's gonna get better. It is just improving and improving and improving. And I give all the credit to our partners and to the city for really taking an overall strategic approach to how do we create a true downtown.
Yeah, it's great. And hey, there's some restaurants down there. You better call for a reservation.
There are,
they're doing amazing.
They are. They're doing amazing,
business.
and it's tough to get in nowadays. When they used to be able to just walk right in any time of the day.
Check it out first.
No doubt about it.
It's different. Make sure you check before you go. Exactly, because it is happening down there.
It is
for sure. Councilman, the other thing too is we talked about Main Street, of course, the Fremont area bustling too. You got Fremont East, of course, the whole Fremont Street experience. There's going to be a whole new upgrade to the canopy.
To the canopy.
But some of the other things, there's in Neonopolis, the Neonopolis area there, run by Joshi and his company. There's a new museum in there, the Cannabis Museum. There was a ribbon cutting for this on August 30th.
It's actually a hemp cutting is what that was.
Hemp cutting.
Hemp cutting. Yes,
that's right. I forgot.
Yes, it's the first time I've ever cut hemp before in my entire life. I can honestly say, yeah. Look, it's the first time in the history of our country that we have a cannabis museum, and it happens to be located right in Ward 5 and right at Neonopolis. And so we are excited to have them here. They are now open. I urge you to go take a look and see what's going on, even if you don't imbibe. I think it's great to see something that is so different that is located right in the heart of our downtown corridor. Joshi, who owns the Neonopolis, I give him a lot of credit. It's him right there with the mayor, JJ, who is the owner of it, and he and his partners. It's just really cool, something different. And I've walked through since they've been open, and it's a pretty cool facility.
Well, you said cannabis is part of the fabric of the community, and not just in Nevada. It's really becoming that way across the country.
It is.
The interesting thing, Councilman, is that there is an appetite for people to come see the museum. I don't, like you say, whether they're going to partake in cannabis or not, but there was a lot of interest in the whole thing of how it got started, why people, how they first found it, et cetera, and what it was used for.
And no doubt. And also, this has received a lot of national attention. I don't know if you talk, Kimmel or, these talk shows talked about it and, put it
kind
out
of the
there.
brunt of the joke.
Kind of the brunt of the joke, but with that
right.
said, it is a topic of conversation. And look, people thought that the Mob Museum wouldn't be as successful. Like, why would you do the Mob Museum? But it's one of the most successful museums in the country.
Right on it. Exactly.
Located once again right in the heart of downtown and right in Ward 5. And so here it is with something different and new, and it's very progressive.
You're hitting it right on the head. There were predictions about the Mob Museum that it would never fly.
Yep.
Of course, it's like you say, it's one of the top 20 museums in the United States. Yep. Same thing with the Neon Museum. People said, why are they going to come and see a bunch of old signs?
Yeah, sure.
They're packed every day.
They are packed.
So
and, featured on national commercials, and
exactly.
and it's just a lot of fun when you go down there, and they're new.
Exactly.
It's just great. If you haven't been there to the Neon Museum, I urge you to go take a look at that too, because it's a walk through history. And it's just great to see how Vegas has evolved.
Well, and I predicted the Cannabis Museum is going to be a successful one too. People
and also just note that the Neon Museum is also located in Ward 5.
It is in Ward 5.
We are just a cultural epicenter. We're the culture epicenter, right? When you think about it, we've got the Smith Center, we've got the Natural History Museum, we've got the Neon Museum, we've got the Cannabis Museum, we've got the Mob Museum, all located in Ward 5.
And don't forget the Children's Discovery
Museum.
And
the Children's Discovery Museum.
Right
yes,
there as well.
yes,
so
all in Ward 5.
You do have the monopoly on the
How about that?
See, you planned it all along. Good stuff. Well, with all the growth and all the good things happening, like Councilman said, you got to plan for the infrastructure, make sure that it fits everything that's going on, and you've taken care of business here. Recently over at Comstock and Stella Lake, got a new signal in there. This area of town obviously growing as well, and what we want to do is have the infrastructure match what we're doing.
Yes.
Right, as opposed to the other way around coming in late.
It's got to keep up.
Right, and that's what we're doing here. We're putting in a new traffic signal again. A lot of traffic signals in the city, but the point here is that we're being proactive. That's the idea.
Yes, so. No doubt about it. And Lake Mead, as we know, is a major thoroughfare between the east and west part of the valley. It receives thousands of cars that travel there a day. We've got a number of schools that are on on Lake Mead. And so this at Stella Lake and Lake Mead is going to allow for pedestrians to cross the street safely. It'll keep the speed limit down to a reasonable, hopefully within the speed limit.
Which has been an issue for people trying to cross it.
Yes,
exactly
yes.
right.
And you're playing dodgeball. And I have to give a thank you to Councilwoman Pamela Goins-Brown in North Las Vegas.
Yeah, sorry.
Because right on the north side of the street, it is North Las Vegas, so it is a true joint partnership that's happening, as well as Atara Asubula, who came with the RTC, who came out and we're using fuel tax indexing revenue funding to help support this as well. So thank you to the RTC and to Councilwoman Goins-Brown as well.
Exactly. Keep it safer over there. And again, we're going to be ahead of the growth curve because it's booming over in that area.
It's booming, and we're going to save some lives.
Exactly right. Exactly right. Love to do that. That's what we're here for, right?
Yep.
And then, Councilman, love this. You honored our Citizen of the Month in October, Billy Chapman. For people who hang out at the Doolittle Center and the area around it, you probably know who Billy is, former principal here in Las Vegas, but a guy who's just been active all of his life in the community, always, I know it's cliche, but you talk about somebody who gives back all the time, that's Billy. And so glad that you recognized him.
Well, you know, it's great, and the work that he does with the Senior Center at Doolittle is fantastic. He is just a selfless individual. He and his wife, Ophelia, thank you for all that you do, because he's just a man of action. He's really not looking for the accolade. But we had to recognize him. He's a Citizen of the Month. So when you come by City Hall, you'll see his picture out front. You see his name under the Citizen of the Month. And
big hand in the community garden project over there at Doolittle.
It is. You have Billy Plaza. You know, he is the impetus for that, and it's just fantastic what he does. And we shout out to all the seniors that came out as well to support him. And I'm sure he really appreciates that as well as I do.
You know, it's funny, Billy's quote-unquote retired school principal. I think he's busier now than he probably was when he was back to teaching school and administering the school that he was principal of.
It seems like it, doesn't it? But, like I said, selfless individuals, we need to recognize people. Sometimes people don't do things for recognition, but it's nice to get recognized.
Exactly, and there's a person who we couldn't do it without you, Billy. So thank you so much for what you do, and deservedly, you got the recognition.
Congratulations to him.
For sure. Thank you so much. Councilman, I know we've talked about this on the show many times. One of the big issues in your ward, employment is one, and homelessness is the other. A lot of homeless services provided in your ward, but that brings a lot of homeless into your ward. So you have been very active, you and other members of the City Council, of looking at what has worked and what has not worked in other cities. You've been to San Antonio, which we're going to talk about in a moment, but you were also in Los Angeles. I didn't realize this until I had talked with you. 60,000 homeless? 60+ thousand
homeless, street homeless in Southern California, LA County area. Wow. You know, LA County is made up of 80 some odd cities. 4 million people. Is really bigger than the state of Nevada, and they have a 0.6 square mile area in downtown, which they call Skid Row, which they have their police department down there has about 60 people that does nothing but manage that entire Skid Row area. And so we were fortunate enough to
who is this councilman?
So that supervisor, Mark Ridley Thomas, who headed up a charge to create some funding revenue streams for LA County, and that's the president of City Council, Herb Wesson, who was the former Speaker of the House for the legislature, who was also engaged in a lot of homeless issues. And so we were able to meet with them. We met with a lot of nonprofits that were there. The United Way actually has an entire department that does nothing but homeless issues. Wow. And so we walked with the lieutenant and a couple of officers from the LAPD around Skid Row, and it is extremely, extremely enlightening. One of the things that is takeaway from it is this: it is a true regional issue. This is not a Las Vegas issue. This is a county, Las Vegas, North Las Vegas, Henderson issue. And if we don't put a full court press, I'm talking an immediate full court press on our homeless issue and finding humanitarian ways to work with our homeless and get them off the street, we'll have 6,000, 12, 24, 48 in a matter of
Because you said that's what happened in Los Angeles.
Sure.
It just multiplied year after year.
It just multiplied.
While they're doing well now, I think kind of the sense was they were maybe a little slow to react initially.
Yeah, and so we're traveling around to see exactly what is working, what is not working. And our goal is to go to these different jurisdictions, find out what they're doing good, what can need some help on, come back, and then we're going to create our blueprint that we all in the region need to work off of. Okay, it's going to take public-private partnerships. It's going to take a commitment and sacrifice from all jurisdictions, and it's going to take us working off of something and really making some tough decisions and making some tough infrastructural areas in different wards. It's not just a Ward 5 or a Ward 3 problem. It's a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and it's every single jurisdiction within the county.
Yeah. That's how LA's done it. If they've got 80 cities and a county all working together down there, we can do the same here with a lot smaller.
Yep, and LA County, I give a lot of credit to Supervisor Willie Thomas, who he and his staff have created a strategy that they're working off of. It's a definable strategy, and then they have the resources that are going towards those strategies. So within 1 year, they said they've mitigated about 7,000 homeless off the streets, and that is going from street homeless to signing a lease.
Not just getting temporarily off. This is actually
signing a lease,
getting
going. As and also we were in San Antonio, which is their haven of hope, which is amazing.
Haven of Hope is regarded as probably one of the finest examples of how to fix the problem in the nation. But I think you've talked about this more than once. The thing that's successful there is the huge support they have from the private sector in San Antonio.
They do. And hopefully with the launch of the Mayor's Fund, which private individuals can help support philanthropically into the Mayor's Fund, and we can put those dollars, needed dollars, private dollars, towards areas where the city cannot afford to be sustainable on it, will happen. Haven of Hope is amazing. Now keep in mind, they have half as many street homeless as we do, but they have put about 10 times the amount of resources we have into the problem.
Well, isn't that interesting? Do the math on that.
Yeah, you do the math. And they have mitigated about 75% of their homeless in downtown.
Wow.
We personally met 3 or 4 people, unsolicited, that said, why are you guys in town? Well, we're here to go look at the Haven of Hope. Oh, I was a part of the Haven of Hope. And now they're working, contributing persons back into society in San Antonio.
You can't ask for anything
more
more than
it
that's
wasn't
the
staged.
idea.
It wasn't like, let's just set these people up. They were just a bartender or a barista or whomever. But now they're contributing back to society.
Wow.
And they have a very, very comprehensive strategy of how they're addressing their homeless issue. And it doesn't compete with the other nonprofits out of there.
Right.
But it's
very coordinated.
Very coordinated. It's a $100 million facility, $20 million annual is their budget. The city line items, $4 million. The county line items, $4 million. They raise $3 million philanthropically from one donor every year through a golf tournament. And then they raise and get grants for $11 million.
It's amazing. Well,
but it's working.
They've set a high bar, so
they've set a high bar.
We're trying to get there too.
Yeah,
exactly.
Yeah.
Well, thanks for getting out,
Yep.
reconnoitering,
and we are,
all this out, and bringing back
and we are not done. All right, our work will not be complete until we have a comprehensive strategy and we're executing, and we're going to make sure that we get homeless people back into society, progressively contributing.
Good goal, an absolutely good goal. Councilman, we had our National Night Out October 2nd. This took place the night after the remembrances for October 1. And the idea here was to help the community and first responders get to know each other, share information, and basically just really have a familiarity with one another.
Yeah, National Night Out is a national program that is created where police departments all over the country get out and get into the community. To try to break down that barrier and that stigma that peace officers are not approachable, that you can't talk to them, that they are not, really members of the community. Like, they're our neighbors. And so how do we break down that barrier? I think it was great. It was fantastic. We were at Bolden Area Command's Night Out, which was at the Pearson Center. We were downtown for DTEC's Night Out, which was right in downtown Las Vegas. And they both had great turnouts. They were a lot of fun, a lot of high energy. And I really believe that it makes a huge difference when you talk about community policing.
I agree, Councilman. I agree. I think one of the things that's made Las Vegas very successful in that is that the police and the community have been working together, really going back to the Rodney King days,
sure.
Working very hard to have that bridge between the community and the police officers.
Yep.
So that partnership has paid dividends over the years for us here. So.
And look, I don't think that police, there's a lot of things that happen with community police and things that unfortunately give a stigma founded. some unfounded, but some very founded.
Absolutely.
Right? They're 100% are not, have good intentions, but overall, I think the police have great intentions. They're here to protect and serve. They want to be in the community, and they want to get home at the end of the day, just like everybody else wants to get home.
Councilman, you showed your support for the police here locally and really trying to help Metro become one of the finest police departments in the nation. You were at the Best of the Badge ceremony. This is where the top police officers on the department are recognized for valor, for going that extra effort, and you and your family were there to recognize them.
And this year they honored the responders and the people that contributed for 1 October again. What another gripping evening, fantastically run and operated, and just for us to get in one room and see the amount of resources, and a lot of people weren't there, obviously they were still working, but to see the amount of resources and manpower and the commitment that they've made. And they showed some videos that were some behind the scenes videos that you can see from
their
the body cams, right? So and there was some cops saying, hey man, we're going in. And to see that, and to see these officers on the floor at the elevator bank saying, okay,
it's the real thing.
Is it?
Yeah.
Right? It was no, you couldn't script that.
No. Not to mention the fact that, imagine what that's like. I know that they train, but this was an event. How could you imagine?
How can you ever really be ready?
Couldn't agree more.
For something like that.
Yeah.
They are literally on the elevator landing, and they're communicating back and forth, and they finally make the decision, we're going in.
Yeah.
My goodness.
Wow. Huh? Heavy stuff. Yeah. Well,
God bless them.
Exactly. Exactly. Thank you for doing what you do every day and protecting the city.
Thank you very much. Completely. Thank you.
Councilman, we're running low on time here, so I want to make sure we tell everybody you've got a Seniors Got Talent showcase coming up. This is really important. There's some auditions. If you're interested in this, the auditions are Tuesday, October 23rd at 1 o'clock to 3 o'clock, and Wednesday, October 24th from 10 to noon at the Doolittle Senior Center. If you are a senior who has talent, we want to hear from you. So come on out. And this is anybody open to anyone who's above the age of 50 and up. Come on out, audition, and if you make the audition, you get into the show, here's what comes next. The show itself is going to take place on Wednesday, November 14th at 11 o'clock, West Las Vegas Library. Are you a judge this year, Councilman, for this?
You know what? I'm not been asked to be a judge yet, but I would love to be a judge.
Okay, folks, you're hearing it here.
I saw some video of it before. Man, we have some talented people.
You're not kidding.
That are, my goodness.
Yeah, these are folks that obviously have maybe had some experience
in the
entertainment industry.
So if you are thinking about it, I urge
Las Vegas, folks.
I urge you not to just come and just, this isn't the Gong Show.
You don't wing it. Yeah,
this
come
is
prepared.
Come prepared.
Yeah, exactly.
Because it's definitely the real deal.
For sure. Well, Councilman, we're running out of time. I'm going to tell everybody out there, hey, we always want to hear from you. So if you have something you'd like to share with Councilman Crear, you can always find him on Facebook and Twitter. And hey, he's pretty active on Instagram too if you're following him. One of the things you can also do is just pick up the telephone. If you want to give him a call, he's at 702-229-6405, or you can send him an email. His address is ccrear@lasvegasnevada.gov.
Thank you, my friend.
Great work.
Yep, thank you.
Covered a lot of ground here today.
A lot of work to do, a lot more work to do. Every day is a great day to do awesome things in Ward 5.
Exactly. We'll see you back here in 6 weeks.
Thank you, sir.
Sounds good. And we want to thank you for joining us for this edition of Access City Council. Don't miss our next show beginning October 18th with Ward 6 City Councilwoman Michelle Fiore. And don't forget, you can watch us live on the internet at kclv.tv. Thanks for watching, everyone. We'll see you next time around.